Hey guys, welcome back to the Anime Collector. For this week's tip, we're going to be talking about the best way that I found in order to transport your DVDs. Now this is actually a very convenient tip for me to be going over this week because I've actually, it turns out that this is the week that I'm actually packing up my office and all my DVDs anyway in order to move into our new location. So what I like to use are these filing boxes that you can get at just about any office supply store. So I'm going to go ahead and get things sort of set up, and we can take a look at just how these are so beneficial. Alright, so I got a box, and I've got the entire collection of Urusei Yatsura here in order to sort of help demonstrate exactly how much you could fit into just one box. Now, one of the biggest recommendations I want to give you guys this week is that you should label your boxes. So here you can see I've got Anime Box 11. Now, this is very, very important because once you move into your new place and you've got your bookcases all set up and you're basically ready to start putting your DVDs back in, you want to be able to start with A and work your way towards Z. And it's going to be a lot easier if these are labeled because if I was to actually put, like my collection is so large that if I was actually to put these into just any random box and then pick them in a random order once I got into my new place, it could take me up to a week, if not more, just to get everything reorganized back to the sort of system that I've got it set up as right now. So it's definitely a very, very crucial time saver to label these, and it's very easy to do this. Now, in the cataloging tip, I mentioned that it would be beneficial for you to start with Z and work your way towards A. Now, one of the major reasons I wanted to bring that up that I actually forgot to mention in that video is that when you're doing this, a lot of times, this is something you could, if you've got a free day, you're going to spend your whole day sort of working on that. And by the end of the day, you're going to not only be tired, but you're going to be bending over to get towards the DVDs like Z and all the later DVDs. And if you start with Z and work your way backwards, your back is going to feel so much better because once you're working towards A, you're going to be stretching your back instead of being hunched over. Now, in this particular case, it could be beneficial to start Anime Box 1 as Z and work your way backwards, so that when you get to your new place, you just know that you want to start with the last number instead of the first number. Because obviously you still have to put them back in order from A to Z instead of Z to A, so you don't have a huge gap at the beginning of your collection. But this could be very beneficial to save your back and all the pain you're going to go through. Anyway, so another little mini tip I want to sort of bring up has to do with art boxes. And this definitely has to do with transporting them. But this is also something that I would just do when they're sitting in my bookcase anyway. So let's take a look at the scenario where you've got an art box and you haven't finished collecting all the DVDs that are supposed to go into that art box. Now if you look here, this is not chipboard, this is basically paper. This is actually a very weak art box. And I would actually recommend you do this regardless of what the art box is made out of, regardless of how flimsy it seems. But it's a really good idea to have a bunch of these sort of lying around. I actually buy these in bulk. They're just random DVDs. And this one has two open spots in it, but just any random DVD case that you've got lying around, stick that in the art box in order to protect it. This is a really, really good idea because it's gonna maintain sort of the structural integrity to the art box, and it's gonna protect the DVDs inside of it, and most importantly, it's also gonna protect the art box from getting warped and damaged. Anyway, so again, this is crucial for transporting because of the sort of jostling around it's going to do, but it's also very important to protect it while it's in your bookcase. So just a really good thing to kind of keep in mind. Anyway, let's get started. So as you guys can see, I actually do not, most of these are not opened yet. I still have the end labels on them. So I'm going to be sticking these in here like this. This is how they're going to be going in. So if I just stick some of these in here, I'll go ahead and show you. This is how it's sort of going to look. So you can see the end labels, that's how they're sitting in here. And just to give you guys a little heads up, from here, this is, I don't know if you can see it, but this is the end of the bookcase right here, or the end of the shelf at least. From here to here, this can hold about 50 DVDs. If we're talking just DVDs that are in this sort of format, just a normal, like I said, a normal DVD case, that can hold about 50 DVDs. And the Urusei Yatsura TV series happens to be 50 volumes long. And I'm mentioning this to sort of help you understand how much, if you wanted to calculate how many boxes you might need for your collection. So let's see what we can do here. Now, one thing I definitely want to recommend actually is that because there's these holes in the boxes for handles, usually I would actually recommend that you try to pick them up here, but that's not always possible. And because these are just the normal style ones, it's actually not that hard for me to get my hands in here, even though I've got pretty big hands. So I recommend that you put these, whatever's going on, because most of my boxes do not look like this when I'm packing them. There's art boxes and stuff everywhere, box sets, different shaped, different sizes things. But if you've got an art box, or basically anything that's not this more durable style case, you're going to want to stick it in between them. So you're going to go out of alphabetical order within the box, but overall it's still sort of going to help you alphabetically to get things back into your bookcase much quicker. So in this case here, I'm putting the art box in between the rest of these DVDs in order to protect it from whatever could get at it from the holes here. Now, the next thing we're going to do is basically, this is 25 DVDs across right here. The next thing we're going to do is actually stick DVDs up like this, like we're going to stick another column up here. But actually I'm going to go ahead and skip that step due to the fact that I've sort of got gravity working against me. And I'm going to show you the thing we would normally do after that. So I'm going to take 2 DVDs and stick them right here, and then 2 more DVDs and stick them right here in order to sort of help maintain the box. It's sort of like what we just talked about with maintaining the structural integrity of an art box. We're basically doing the same thing for these transporting boxes by doing this. So now I'm going to take a bunch of DVDs here, and I'm going to do the same thing we just did for this row, and we're going to do another row of 25 up here, which is going to bring us to a total of 54, because it's going to be 25 here, 25 here, which is 50, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Anyway, so let me go ahead and grab the rest of these and just sort of get them in here. And 3 more. Alright, so that's what that's going to look like. So here we can see we've got 25, 25, and then 4. So that's 54. Now after that, what we're going to do is we're going to take 2 DVDs and we're going to stick them right here. So now, as you can see, we got 1, 2. Then after that, we're going to take 2 more DVDs, and we're going to stick them right here. Let's see if I can angle that so you can see it. And then 2 more are going to go right here. And then finally, 2 more right there. So this is all 50 volumes of the Urusei Yatsura TV series, plus the 6 OVAs, plus the 6 movies. This is a total of 62 DVDs in one box. Now keep in mind that this entire box is made up of DVDs like this. Again, this is probably easier for you to understand. DVDs like this, just generic, DVD cases. So this is sort of a best case scenario. And in this particular case, you could probably, I've got, like I said, I've got 2 DVDs sitting on top here, and and the rest of it. You could probably stack this easily up to 3, potentially up to 4. And in fact, if I show you right now, if you were to go up to 4, these basically line up exactly with where the lid's going to be. So the structural integrity could be most beneficial to have 4 DVDs stacked on top, in which case, instead of having 62, you'd have 62 plus 2, so 64, 66, 68, 70 total DVDs in one single box. Now, in this particular case, usually I just do 2 because certain art boxes, like let's say the art box for Beck or the art box for the first season of Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicle, they're sort of an odd shape. They're a little bit taller, a lot bigger, and sometimes these things end up where one of these will be up higher because it's sitting on something. So sometimes you'll end up only putting one on one of the corners. And you're just going to be basically sort of figure that out on your own. It's very, very easy to figure out. Now, in the final box that you pack, it's a very good chance that you're actually going to run out of DVDs and you're going to have a couple open spots in that final pack. If you got a bunch of these lying around, you'll just be able to use those to sort of maintain the structural integrity of these boxes, and then you'll be able to just sort of stick the lid on, and you're good to go. So anyway, guys, that's this week's tip. I've got a lot of packing to do, but let's take this little box and pop it up on the shelf. If you want to check out this week's review of Interstellar 4.5, here's a link to it. Now I can basically guarantee that we're not going to be making videos for the next 2 or 3 weeks, but as soon as my new studio is up and running, we'll be back on schedule. So take it easy guys, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.